Have you been struggling with UVs in your projects? Do you want a quick, cheap, and easy way to make your UVs automatically? Look no further than the triplanar mapping node group for Blender 5.0. Just append the node group, drop it in, and you're pretty much set. Well, how do you use it, you may ask? Let's go over that. I'll show you what you get when you download it, a demo scene to show you what it looks like, and how you can use it in your own blend file. Let's get into it. When you download and open the blend file, you'll get something that looks like this. This is our little demo scene to preview how it works. If we go into rendered mode, you can see the textures nicely and uniformly mapped onto the walls. Heck, it even nicely maps to Cezanne. If we pull up the shader tab, we can see that the node group is being used along with the textures. You can also see that this isn't using a special texture that maps onto the walls. This is just a generic tile texture, which I found online. So, how can we use this in our own files? Well, let me show you. In our default blend file, we'll open up a Cezanne head, we're going to subdivide it, and we're also, this is important, make sure this is shaded smooth, so then the blending looks uniform. Next, let's open up the side panel. We're going to change this to shader editor, and we're going to add a new material. Now we need to import our node group. We can do that by heading up to File, going to Append, and finding where we downloaded our file. Once we found where the file was downloaded to, let's double click on the file. We're going to scroll down until we see Node Tree, double click on that, and we'll double click on triplanar mapping. Once that's done, I'm just going to head into material preview so we can see what's happening to our Cezanne. In the material, I'm going to do Shift A, I'm going to go down to group and I'm going to find triplanar mapping. We can see by default, it looks kind of odd. Let's open this up. Object vector refers to the object vector which we need to plug into the node group. We can find that by going Shift A, search, and type in texture coordinate and add the texture coordinate to the node graph. Then all you have to do is plug in this object output into the object vector and you're pretty much done. Now, if we add an image texture to map, we can see that when we plug in the vector into the vector of the image, it maps nicely to the sides. Now you may notice that there's this weird boiling on the surface of the Cezanne head. This is the blend effect, which you can turn down. Now we can see our texture. I'm going to turn up the blend just so then these edges disappear. You might also notice that this is slightly discolored from the actual texture. That can be fixed by changing linear in the image settings to either cubic, smart, or closest. Now the blend is smooth between the images. There's a couple other settings that don't make too much sense, but I'll show them off here. We can see that with the image, it looks like it's kind of mirrored on the back end. The back end refers to the negative of both of these values here. So if we find flip back end, it'll make it where all of them are facing the same direction. The individual panel here refers to the individual axes which the image is mapped to. Changing any one of these settings will apply only that axis. We can see that for the x-axis, if we come over here to the X side, adjusting this will move the image. This goes the same for Y and up and down. These other two panels refer to the same exact thing. A couple other things to notice is, like I said before, you may need to shade auto smooth to make sure that when you turn out the blend effect, it won't do this weird kind of gradient thing. So going to shade auto smooth makes the blend more even. Another thing of note, this boiling looks like it'll leave artifacts on your image, but when you actually render it with enough samples, it'll just look smooth. Another interesting thing of note is if you replace the texture coordinate node with a geometry position node, it'll actually make it where, depending on where the object is, it'll map using the world position. And one last thing, if you're dealing with weird artifacts like stretching and stuff, apply scale and rotation are your friend. Like you can see that this object is now massive, but I want the texture scale to be tiled and small. So what we have to do is we have to apply scale. And now it's exactly what I wanted. With the stretching, that can be fixed by just rotating in edit mode and then rotating in object mode the other way. That fixed our strain stretching issue. And there you go. That's what you get when you get the triplanar mapping node group. Thank you for downloading and thank you for watching this video. Bye-bye.